Hey everyone, it's Nicole and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm super excited today to be here for National Scrapbooking Weekend and kicking it off today with part of the Scrap Your Heart Out YouTube blog hop. Today I'm here on behalf of Just Nick and I'm going to be using this digital cut file that we are offering for free this weekend, and I'll put some information in the comments on how you can go ahead and grab it. So let's get started. So I started off with the die cut shape. I just cut it from some white cardstock. This is actually Silhouette adhesive back cardstock. So I'm just going to peel off the backing, which is going to make it really easy for me to stick the paper behind it to make like a bit of a mosaic-like look into that circle shape. And I'm just using the extra bits from that cut file just to layer in behind my design there, just to fill it all in. I find this takes less time than sticking it and kind of cutting it on my own. So as long as I have the little bits, you can see it goes pretty quickly, even though, of course, I have sped up the video. Sometimes I get impatient and I just do like I did just there, and I just stick my design down and cut around it, which is usually good for really tiny areas. If you have a scrap piece of paper, of course, it's different now. I'm using larger sheets, but these little extra bits here really help move the process along quickly if you save them and use them as a bit of a template. So I'm really just trying to randomly change up my colors and patterns of paper. This is all paper by Bella Boulevard, and you can see I've just filled in almost the whole thing. I left a couple spots open and I put some vellum in some of the other spots there, so it's a little bit murky in a few areas. And I decided I really wanted to use this bold black and white stripe background. So this is not something I would normally do, so I'm just gonna go with it. And I added a whole lot of pop dots to the back, and I'm just sticking it down onto my page. Here, I like adding a lot of pop dots to the back of the die cut background. It just adds a nice little bit of shadow. And I'm gonna go ahead and just off-center that just slightly and then trim off the excess from that die cut design. Okay, so now I have a photo here and I want to just mat it a little bit because I do feel like if it's just going to be sitting on top of that die cut background, it's going to be a little bit lost. So I'm just adding a little bit of white cardstock, and then I'm going to use this teal polka dot that I had in my stash. I dug deep in my stash for some of the embellishments for this project. So I'm just going to stick that on there, and that kind of just gives it a little bit of color so that it doesn't really get lost in that white background. Now is where I had the hardest time because I have quite a bit going on with that die cut background and the floral and the black stripes. Tried to find some embellishments that would work. I thought these Bella Boulevard die cuts would be good. They're really cute, but they were almost like too cutesy to go with that floral design there in the paper. So I ended up just using a couple of the tabs here along the top of my photo, and I passed on the rest, which I was kind of surprised because the colors worked really well, but they were just too different. And I really wanted to use these big glitter words. They're super fun, but it was just too big with my circle and the black and everything. So I probably should have thought about this a little bit beforehand, but that's okay. So now I'm trying to choose a title, and again, because I have a lot of colors going on, I did not think everything through completely, and so I'm trying to find a title that's going to fit and kind of go with what I have. It's going to show, because otherwise everything I have would not show. So I've just added another layer of paper, the black, to make it stand a little bit larger. And then I decided I needed to add kind of like a bit of a, not quite solid, but another contrasting color for the black. So I'm adding in the red here just as a base kind of where I'm going to put my title. And then I'm going to add this little floral card too in there. And then I kind of toy around with these pink paisley foam alphas or letters, words, and I really like them. They're super cute, but they just got lost. You can see they just kind of got lost in that busy background paper. So I end up just ignoring my title for now, and I'm just going to freehand cut out some of the flowers and the rest of this journal card, and I'm going to use that just as a bit of embellishments on my page, just to bring a little more of that red color that's in some of those flowers over to one corner of my photo. So I'm just fussy cutting these out really quickly, make a couple different little groups on the top right, or top left, sorry, and bottom right corner of my photo. And I really wanted to cut some of the larger photos out of that She Blooms paper, but I just could not, I just couldn't get my head wrapped around it the day I did this project. It just was too much for me. So I just went with what I had here with the tiny little flowers, and because I have such a lot going on in this background, I don't want to put too much embellishing on the page. So these smaller little flowers will do just fine. Just going to try and stick this all down a little bit here, and then I fool around again with the title. So I'm going to grab these gold thickers, but they were almost like too yellowy. They weren't the right one or the right size, so you know, I end up passing on that. So I'm like, nope, forget it. Put those to the side. And then I try to grab some other things again. I need to stick some of this down here. This one part of my background is flattening, squishing. Anyway, it's not working. And I thought with these black thickers, but they're black and the whole background's black, so it was driving me crazy. And then I end up settling on the word shine from these crepe paper stickers, and you can see them. You can see the title. So that suited my purpose, and it was just kind of big enough for the edge of the circle, so I just went with that. And then I went back to use some of the glitter hearts in that same package, and I ended up using some of those pink paisley glitter foam hearts just to add a bit of a contrast instead of everything being all gold. And I like the size of these little tiny hearts, so it kind of worked out perfectly. And then I decided to grab a few Bella Boulevard enamel hearts. I'm going to staple this into my package here so they don't get lost. And yes, that whole tray there is enamel dots or bling or something. I have a small problem, as you can see, but I swear half those packages are likely 90 or 80% empty. I don't throw any enamel dots out, but because they're not super cheap. But yeah, I have a bunch that I got in DT kits and stuff like that. So I did not buy like $400 worth of enamel dots. Please don't think that I did, because I swear to you, I did not. I've just been very fortunate to have some. So I actually thought I had finished this layout, and then I decided, no, I needed to add a few more things. Something was just not right. So I ended up cutting down some of these labels here from Amy Tangerine Stitched, I believe the collection is. I'm just going to add this underneath the photo. It has like a little bit of a sentiment underneath it. And then I have this really cool acetate sheet, transparency. Again, this is Amy Tangerine. And I think it's Rise and Shine was the collection. And I thought these would be kind of cool just to add a bit of like a floral doily-ish sort of element, but not really stark. So just the clear transparency of it, I thought would be kind of neat. So I'm just fussy cutting around the edge, and I'm not actually cutting the whole piece. It's hard to really tell, but that's just a bit of a triangle from the corner. And then I cut two others. I cut all the way around the edge of each of them. And a tip I have for you with the transparency is just make sure you're using really sharp scissors. Otherwise, you're going to have a hard time cutting it out. So these are actually the scissors I use primarily for sewing, like clipping threads and that sort of thing, not actual like sewing with fabric. But they're pretty sharp, so I'm using them for this purpose, and I'm just trimming around, not even 1/8 of an inch around, just a tiny little border around the edge of those doily type acetate shapes. And I don't know why, but everything does not want to stick on my page today, so I'm just going to lift it all up, and I'm going to end up adding some glue dots to get everything to stick later. That's just kind of worked out the best. And you can see adding that pink doily flower thing underneath my title just helps the title stand out just a tiny bit more. And then I decided to add faux stitching for a change around the outside edge of that circle shape. I'm just going to use my black journaling pen to do that. Just tiny little dashes all the way around. And I think that's pretty much how my page came together. So you can just see a couple close-ups here of that cut file, which we'll get to in a second, and my filing with my title and all the little bits and colors and layers in there. And I really like how this one turned out. So now onto the fun stuff. So for National Scrapbooking Day weekend, from the 6th to the 8th, you can get this cut file for free over at my store, justnick.myshopify.com. Just enter the code NSD 2016 and you get this one for free. I'll put the comments in the comment section and you can go ahead and find it and download it, and it's all yours. Have yourself a great scrapbooking day and enjoy your blog hop.